pretending to be an actual priest. Can you believe it? Scammers have been fooling followers who think they're donating to their church. Here's something real. Well, kind of. It's close because it will fly. The School of Mines really digs Iron Man. Before he was elected, he promised to take on guns in Colorado. He got a law changed. Now there's all sorts of money being spent to try and kick him out of office. And we've got a bad husband who went on a forever beer run. No, it's not Kyle. It's always next to clock somewhere, and that time is now. So this should be the off season for politics, right? We just finished the Denver city election. The state legislature is out for the rest of the year. Yet, in one pocket of the metro area, our politics guy, Marshall Zellinger, found people still getting political mail and knocks at their door.
Hi. Let's see, are you Amber? I'm Tom Sullivan. I'm her state representative. I wanted to just drop this off.
Democratic State Representative Tom Sullivan planned to do some voter outreach this summer.
Tom Sullivan, I'm your state representative. Wanted to come out, reintroduce myself.
He's walking Centennial's House District 37 to keep his job. Republicans in his district, supported by Rocky Mountain gun owners, not in his district, are trying to oust Sullivan, essentially for supporting legislation he said he would when he was elected.
I will get myself an education on this recall process because I will bring up legislation next year. This should not happen. They're not going to do this to me, and I'm not going to allow them to do this to somebody else.
Our Colorado Way of Life, the committee created to fight recalls against Democrats, has already taken in $106,000 through May. The groups trying to recall Sullivan, they haven't had to file their financial reports just yet, but we know they're spending on these social media ads. Rocky Mountain Gun Owners is paying to collect the 10,000 signatures needed to force a recall election. Executive Director Dudley Brown told me RMGO has probably spent $45,000. How much have they taken in? He told me not even half that. But look at 2013, when RMGO financed the recall efforts of 3 other lawmakers. That year, RMGO took in $916,000, up from the $199,000 the year before. Sullivan's motto is decline to sign, telling voters not to sign the petition that would force a 2019 recall, though he says he'll be on the 2020 ballot no matter what.
It's either going to be as the incumbent who just finished his second year down at the state capitol, or I will be the Democratic challenger to win back the seat that was stolen from me. It's one or the other.
Can I just have some time off, please? Here's what's going to happen. July 12th is the deadline for those 10,000 signatures to be turned in. There's 15 business days after that to be sufficient or insufficient. Let's say, Jeremy, that they collect enough signatures and there's really no challenge to them. Because the next regular election would be more than 90 days away, we would have a special election that the governor would call for probably September or October. It would cost taxpayers $150,000. If there's a little delay, it might match up with the November election so that it would be at the same time. And then there's the possibility they don't collect enough signatures and this is nothing.
Well, so much energy spent on this already. You had some Republicans already speaking out against this effort.
Yeah, and some of those mailers that people are getting at home quote prominent Republicans who have come out, written columns, and voiced they're saying this is not the way to do this one.
Okay, excellent work. Thank you, Marshall. What happens when a city suddenly loses its mayor? The city of North Glen is dealing with that right now. Tonight, city councilors have to talk about who's going to replace the one who suddenly quit. Former Mayor Carol Dodge resigned, effective immediately after 2 years on the job. In her letter of resignation, Dodge wrote she is unable to work in what she calls a toxic council environment. Dodge still had 2 years left on her term. She's been featured right here on Next when she was running for mayor. Her husband had made signs saying people should call police on election canvassers after he says a few of his senior friends had people offering them to help them vote and turn in their ballots. If you've seen any news today, you've probably heard about that helicopter that crash landed on a building in New York City and then caught fire. The pilot of that chopper died in the crash. A few things about that story caught the attention of our own Chris Vanderveen after hearing about today's crash. One, fuel leaked from the downed helicopter, and 2, there was a fire that appears to have started right after the crash. Chris joins us with some insight tonight. Chris, you've done a lot of work on this post-helicopter crash fires. This one seems to join an already growing longer list here.
Jeremy, excuse me, we're paying really close attention to all this because we will have to wait until the autopsy to go to figure out if the fire, the crash itself, killed the pilot of the A109E helicopter. That's critical here in all of this. Not much to see on a rainy, cloudy day in Midtown, but if you look close, you can see some of the smoke coming from the top of the building. The specific helicopter was not required to have a crash-resistant fuel system. You know this if you listen to us report on this subject for years. Most helicopters in use today have fragile fuel systems that are prone to rupturing upon even relatively minor impacts. Last year, Congress passed a law mandating that all newly built helicopters have a crash-worthy fuel system on board, but the law does not order any retrofits of the existing civilian fleet. That fleet numbers well into the thousands. 4 years ago next month, a Flight for Life helicopter erupted into flames here in Colorado. A flight nurse suffered burns on more than 90% of his body. 2 Colorado members of Congress have sponsored legislation to encourage operators to retrofit their helicopters with the help of tax benefits. Still awaiting a hearing on the House side for all of that. A lot of attention to today's crash because of where it happened. It's likely to bring even more attention to this issue that we've been covering very much so for the last few years.
Yeah, it sounds like it will. Well, thank you, Chris. A next viewer named Miles has been making the trek from Denver to Salida pretty often over the last couple of months. There's this sign he's noticed off Highway 285 near Bailey that he's been wondering about, and maybe you've seen it too. Miles' next question: is this a town or some discreet military base? Groupon code for free chicken wings? Not exactly. The sign is for Camp Idrahaji. It stands for I'd Rather Have Jesus. It's a Christian camp for kids and teens in Bailey, and it's been around since 1948. It's actually one of Colorado's oldest Christian camps. Scammers are sinking to a new low. Some are posing as priests to trick people into buying gift cards. They've targeted at least 2 churches here in the metro area in the past year, Christ Church in Denver and St. Michael the Archangel in Aurora. In both cases, scammers used an email address that looked like it came from the church's pastor. They asked for iTunes gift cards and screenshots of the PIN number on the back. A staff member at Christ Church fell for the scam. So did some people at St. Michael's. Staff there said one person spent $1,200 on gift cards before learning it was all a scam. So watch out for that. Calling 911 often means you get someone with a badge and gun showing up, right? But what about the people who should not get arrested but instead should get some real, actual help? Too often, people who need treatment go to jail, and Denver police want to change that by sending someone else. Here's Katie Eastman.
Not every 911 call needs a police officer. Ask the Denver police chief himself.
We would anticipate somewhere between 10 and 20%.
That's 10 to 20% of calls where someone needs mental health services, a substance abuse counselor, or a safe place to sleep.
We can have expanded awareness about what safety is.
Vincent Cervantes and Randy Gonzalez are 2 of the community leaders who visited a place where police don't respond to calls they don't need to. Instead, dispatchers in Eugene, Oregon send a mental health professional and a medic to about 15% of calls.
This would be something where we respond, police aren't even there, they're more as like maybe a safeguard if the situation were to escalate even more.
Get people the help that they need, and the police officers are freed up to address the other challenges that are taking place within the city.
It's been working in Eugene since 1989. Chief Paul Pazin wants to roll it out as a pilot program to see if it could work here.
We want this done right, and we also recognize that there is a need right now. So we are going to be working as quickly as possible to get this up, but it needs to be done right, and that's our focus.
Timeline and costs are still up in the air, but ultimately community leaders hope this program could save money because less people would end up in jail. For Next, I'm Katie Eastman.
And right now, the city has been testing out another diversion program called LEAD. Cops can arrest someone, but instead of actually charging them, police can actually get those people to an actual treatment facility. Choosing the right walk-up song is a big deal for boxers, for football teams, for baseball players walking up to the plate, and for, presidential candidates now. I mean, with nearly 24 candidates, it's kind of like a boxing match, right? 19 of the 23 candidates spoke at the Iowa Democratic Hall of Fame celebration yesterday, including the two guys from Colorado. Senator Michael Bennet walked up to the Rising by Bruce Springsteen, a song that he says reminds him of winning. It was the first song played when he won the nomination for U.S. Senate in 2010. Former Governor John Hickenlooper went with a Colorado band, choosing Good Life by OneRepublic. His campaign didn't seem to like us asking about this decision over this music choice. They told us, #breaking news. What kind of guy ditches his new wife on a beer run? We've got some random Colorado history on tap. So, what makes a good man then? A good Iron Man, that is. At his core, he has to have a good arc reactor, right? And he has to fly, for reals, man.
At first, we weren't expecting to need to fly the suit, but the show kept coming up with more and more ideas and challenging our engineering perspectives.
Oh gosh, another man reference? Are we really doing this? Yes! One more before we go to break. We saw a bearded bride about to pull a prank. Next.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Kathy Sabin. Now this is more like it. How about this for a Monday? A break from the severe weather. Severe clear, as we like to call it back in the weather office. A beautiful day with temperatures not too hot, not too cold, just about where we like them. And tonight with clear skies, check it out. Opposition of Jupiter. You should be able to clearly see it. You look east, it's visible sunset to sunrise and continues for a few weeks, so it should be pretty amazing. The wind today, really kind of a problem for many of you, and that's due to the pressure gradient between our weekend storm and building high pressure, which is actually going to bring us really a nice weather pattern for about the next 2 or 3 days. And then the ridge breaks down and we've got a chance for storms back in the forecast. Tonight, isolated storms down to the south. Tomorrow, a couple out on the far northeastern plains, but Denver's basically dry, comfortable, and quiet, and we'll take that on a day in June, our severe weather month. Fair skies and 50 tonight, sunshine and 76 Tuesday. Temperatures will continue smidge below the average of 81. Storms back in the forecast Thursday and Friday, and Father's Day forecast looking pretty good. Maybe a little bit of a light show late in the day. But Jeremy, the Rockies are in town and wearing my Rockies purple. First pitch forecast 6:40 and 73 degrees. Do you want to go?
Oh, sounds nice. Perfect weather. Thanks, Kathy.
Okay.
You probably remember the Ice Bucket Challenge. You know, when people told each other to dump ice water on themselves. If you were challenged, you had to donate to the ALS Association, an effort to fight Lou Gehrig's disease. Well, can you believe it's been 5 years since that took over the internet? And it has a serious impact. The group says that challenge increased cash flow by 187%. The ALS was able to put $90 million into new research. $19 million in grants was given out across the world. Compare that to 2013. The group was only able to give out $7 million back then. Colorado got 2 of those grants for nearly $500,000. The ALS Association says it was also able to pay for 55 new treatment centers. How about that? Alrighty, we're going back to the future, or back to the past, in our segment we call Random Colorado History. On this day, June 10th, 1919, exactly 100 years ago today, the Rocky Mountain News printed this headline: "Husband goes for beer. Wife is still waiting." The article describes how some local newlyweds went on a honeymoon. When the new hubby went out for beer and food, he never came back. "I'm still waiting for that supper and bottle of beer," Mrs. Hoover is quoted in the article. A judge granted her a divorce on the grounds of desertion. Let's do one more. Same day, same issue of the Rocky Mountain News. This ad put out by the Baldwin Piano Company appeared 100 years ago when people actually had to create their own music at home. They couldn't download it back then. Back then, you could roll in downtown Denver on California near the 16th Street Mall and get yourself a fancy piano. The piano shop is now long gone. Near where it used to be is, of course, the Chipotle. So, we have beer, a bad husband, pianos, and burritos. And that's a wrap of today's Random Colorado History.
We're used to solving problems in a lab to help for a conference publication.
The School of Mines getting into the Iron Man game, like a real one that flies. And our photographer caught a wedding prank.
That's fantastic.
So we're going to play that out. We vow to come back. Next. Anyone who's a fan of Comics is probably a fan of Iron Man, right? You've seen the cosplay suits online if you're a nerd like me. But can one of those suits really be made to fly? Adam Savage from the Discovery Channel went to the Colorado School of Mines to put that challenge to the test. Our Byron Reed sat down with a mine student who put her core into the project.
Sarah Sortedall has always had a vivid love for science.
I liked chemistry, I liked physics. I was part of an ocean quiz bowl team in high school.
She's a PhD student at Colorado School of Mines in their materials science program,
which is studying how to improve the materials around us, such as glasses, metals, ceramics, polymers.
Back in December, her school was asked by Discovery Channel show Savage Builds creator Adam Savage to help 3D print a real-life Iron Man suit made out of titanium.
He walked through the labs, found out that we're doing 3D printing in titanium, and a few weeks later called us back and said, "Hey, I've got a new show. One of the episodes, I want to 3D print an Iron Man suit out of titanium." And of course I said yes.
So my specific role was to help print the ceramic chess piece that's part of the arc reactor.
And the project has Sortedall's work at the heart of it all.
We made the chess piece out of 3D printed alumina. We have a lithos printer at Mines, which is a very top quality ceramics printer.
The show's creator did have one special request. The suit also had to fly.
Yeah, at first we weren't expecting to need to fly the suit, but the show kept coming up with more and more ideas. And there's tiny little features.
A way Sortedall can see her hard work on TV and a chance to make her family glow with pride.
Yes, I am, of course. I'm really excited. My parents are really excited too.
For Next,
it's definitely a different way to solve problems.
I'm Byron Reed.
That's pretty cool. The School of Mines worked with another Denver area company called EOS to get the pieces 3D printed. The Discovery Channel's Savage Builds premieres their hard work this Friday night at 8 o'clock. Every last detail counts on your wedding day, down to the last strand of beard hair. A Colorado bride with a sense of humor coming up next. Alrighty, the most Colorado thing we've seen today is one man's bearded bride in gold. And okay, so this man wasn't really his bride, it was actually one of his groomsmen. Aiden's real bride, Megan, was hiding behind a sign at Clear Creek. She eventually stepped in for her big reveal, but not until she had a little fun. Aiden wasn't surprised she pranked him, but by the timing, considering they were just getting married in a few hours, Megan and Aiden tied the knot in Westminster this evening. Congratulations to the newlyweds there. So we got a little bit of time for some feedback here this evening. Michelle says, my hubby and I watch Next every night at dinner time. That's great. I hope you're eating something really good right now. Kyle will be back tomorrow. Thanks for sticking around. See you again tomorrow.